survival mode can look a lot of different ways, but essentially it is a neurological state in a way that, by the way, shuts down your higher functioning. It shuts down that expansive creativity, that bigger vision, that 30,000-foot view.
Entrepreneurs, I'm excited for today because as we were having our banter behind the scenes, I learned Naomi is out in India right now, which is so cool because she has it dark still behind her. We're recording in the morning, but not that early. So, Naomi, thank you for joining us all the way from India.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really happy to have this conversation with you today.
I'm
Appreciate it.
excited to dive into your 30 years of experience helping founders, CEOs, and senior leaders who perform well on paper, yet notice the same breakdowns as the stakes rise: reactive decisions, micromanaging, conflict
Mm.
avoidance. So stick around for all of that, but we're going to start with it fun. What's been the biggest difference or maybe culture shock from where you live normally out in India?
Yeah. I mean, I've been to India. Actually, this is my eighth time in India, to be honest with you. I love India very much, and it's going to keep getting better in terms of organization and all of that. India has a very long history with colonization, and there's so many beautiful things. Actually, almost everything beautiful in the world came from India. The traffic is absolutely insane. Every time I go, and by the way, I've never driven in India, and I don't think I ever will, but every time I do, I'm like, everything that happens is highly illegal in the US. So that's always surprising to me. But in terms of so much incredible entrepreneurial spirit in India, I mean, India's on the rise. It is insane to see. There's a lot of startups where I'm at. I'm working with a great social media team, a lot of founders, a lot of really cool things happening in India right now. Yeah.
That's exciting. I was going to ask,
Mhm.
how has it been for your business overseas? I know you're probably gaining great perspective, and she just highlighted a great hub, excuse me, for any entrepreneurs looking to do some traveling. So with that, let me
True.
welcome everyone to That Entrepreneur Show. My name is Vincent A. Lancy, and I want to thank you for keeping the show a top 2.5% global show. It helps us make a difference with more founders all around the world each week, from founders like Naomi, who have done great work, found a way to sustain, and now give back through their lessons learned. We're brought to you today by ComingAlivePodcastProduction.com. Head there today to get your journey started. But as I began the show with, she has a lot of experience to share. She brings a practical, informed lens to leadership and burnout. We're going to talk about things like, what do most leaders misunderstand about resilience? Super important. What first made her realize that burnout isn't just about the workload, but about nervous system patterns. So I think that's going to help a lot of entrepreneurs because as you start to grow, more and more things get piled on top of that never ending to-do list. So Naomi, you've done a remarkable job. Congratulations on all your success. I'd like to start by going back in time. When did you know entrepreneurship was for you?
Wow, that's a good question. I didn't really connect that dot. I really thought I would be a doctor. And then I started going to uni and I was like, wait, that's not what I mean by helping people. And then it just sort of evolved into natural entrepreneurship because what I noticed is that I really like running my own business and I naturally have a really talent for, organization and creating, yeah, my own business. So yeah, it kind of fell into my lap, and that's how it happened for me. I've just kept going and had different businesses, but all in the space of holistic health, wellness, personal development, and now coaching. Yeah.
Like you, entrepreneurship wasn't a planned route for me. It's something
Mm,
that as life took its course, entrepreneurship came to flourish. And of course, the areas you in, I have a great passion for with a mental
nice.
health break. We may have to talk over there sometime too. When you were first getting started, Naomi, what were
Mhm.
some of the pain points, the challenges you've experienced that maybe can help some of our newer entrepreneurs out?
Honestly, I mean, and this is sort of the angle and lens that I really want to shed light on with all of the work that I do, because obviously there's like a million business, brilliant, incredible advice, YouTube videos, all the things. But I think the real cutting edge is your own nervous system, your own capacity, your own inner tolerance, your own values, your own vision, like your habits, everything about your system and what you can actually pull off. So, in my experience, upgrading yourself is the best possible way to be an incredible, successful entrepreneur. And that's honestly the best thing that I would say is my sort of viewpoint and my perspective on it that I think is kind of missing to some degree. And we can talk about that more, but like, this idea of optimization and like cold plunges and all these things, even Tony Robbins talks a lot about these different things and so many people. But even for me, there's like a deeper level that's missing as well. And from that perspective. So that's kind of what I like to share. Yeah.
I love that. Always trying to upgrade ourselves. And you tease those two words we talked about a few minutes ago, nervous
Mhm.
system, right? First
Mhm.
made you realize, Naomi, that burnout is not just about our workload, but
Yeah.
about our nervous system patterns.
Right. I mean, my own experience, quite honestly, and also the work that I've done with a lot of people and seen with a lot of people. Burnout is definitely nervous system fully. And what first made me realize that, yeah, was my own experience of how it felt to like show up and have success and to get like achieve everything that I had on my goal list. And also, by the way, be taking supplements, exercising, meditating, sleeping enough, being outside, all the right things, and also be burnt out. So, yeah, I started looking deeper. That's when I first realized what it was really related to the nervous system. And as a meditator, I knew that was important. I knew it was the thing that really kept me kind of regulated, I would say. But what I learned as well in this experience is that it wasn't quite enough for me because I think I had to really look more deeply at the underlying beliefs, patterns, and the overall compensation. Like, where was I really coming from? And I think those underlying survival strategies, usually from childhood and on the subconscious level, that's what usually runs our intention and our inability to stop. And maybe even if we're doing all of those optimization things, we're still not fully able to kind of switch states and go and start to have that flexibility within the nervous system where we're actually getting rest, we're actually getting recharged, we're actually letting down. So that's my answer to that.
Well, I think again, we're going to have to spend some time when we're done, get you scheduled on the other podcast because I would love to dive deeper into that because that's so
Yeah.
in tune with mental health. But I always say without a strong mental health, there's no business, right? There's no entrepreneurship.
Yes.
I was going to ask a tool that you use, and you mentioned meditation, right? I know
Yes.
it's also a confusing term to many people who
Mm,
have not meditated before. It
mm,
may not be easy for everyone, especially someone
mm.
like myself, but just we'll take a second or two here because I know it can help our entrepreneurs out there if they've never meditated before. But now, of course, we all can experience that first time of feeling burnout, right? Playing that back in our head. Now we have a tool for entrepreneurs. Can you give some early advice or early steps listeners can
Mhm.
take to start meditating?
Yeah. So, first of all, I would say that I started meditating in 1997. That was a long time ago. I was very lucky to discover meditation very early in my life. And I learned TM, which, if you know anything about Ray Dalio, who's an amazing entrepreneur, he actually also says, and many others do too, but that TM for him was the thing that has allowed him all the success that he has. And I'm involved with a Harvard organization that researches very deeply meditation techniques and how it impacts the system and mental health and all these things. So I'm like the biggest advocate of meditation. I generally think like you cannot do well without it. So I do recommend, I don't do TM anymore. I've been doing practices that are taught by the Isha Foundation for the last 5 years. I highly recommend them. You must go learn meditation from an actual meditation teacher. Recommend Isha Foundation. I do recommend if you want to do TM, that's a valid meditation as well. And then there's even an app that's called Miracle of Mind that I do recommend. You can even start with a 7-minute practice. And it's very effective. And it's been shown physiologically in those Harvard studies to have a big impact on. So that's simple. It's guided, and there's a couple other practices which I at times give people called Yoga for Peace. It's like 5, 7, 10 minutes. You can make that much time and it's guided. So it's really a hand holding when you're first starting. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for adding that tool to our listeners' tool chest, right? Everyone stick
Yeah.
around just a little longer. We're going to get her contact info. We're going to find out where to learn more about all the great work she does. And remember to subscribe to stay current so you don't miss great conversations like today. Now, I'd love to jump into something I also teased earlier. What do most leaders misunderstand about resilience, right? It's become one of these buzzwords. Let's talk about it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of people think of resilience as like enduring more, right? And like, I mean, this can be a very deep conversation, right? But in a way, the way that we have kind of run Western culture is a very masculine energy driven, like on go, strong. And even the way we've trained masculine energy, it's very like not really having the capacity for the full human experience of vulnerability, of rest, of not just like strength, resilience, endurance. Real resilience, I feel, and this has been proven even in great athletes, there's a lot of studies that show this, that real resilience is not self-abandonment. It's really learning your system, what it needs to like be at its top performing level, and not just through cold plunges and all those things, but through also deep inner work, also meditation, expanding your capacity physiologically within your nervous system to have more tolerance and that flexibility so that you're not just stuck in go survival, which is a lot of times what people call resilience, is that endurance to kind of like, how much can I take? How much can I push it? So I do think a lot of leaders, including women, when I say masculine, I don't mean men only, I mean masculine energy. And for women, it's even more intense because we have a female physiology, which is more cyclical, right? So we have a tendency to burn out even more because of our bodies are different. So yeah, I think it's a very important distinction. And true high performance comes from full physiological resilience.
I love how throughout this entire episode, you've highlighted that, hey, we need to do the work on ourselves first, right? We need to start building ourselves up, increase our capacity. All of the other tools are great, right? Cold plunges, meditations, but without
Yes.
working on ourselves, we're not going to get very far. So thank you so much for highlighting that throughout. And one more area, everyone, I've got something great I want to talk with her about before we find out which entrepreneur she's choosing to learn from. Throughout your work, how have you found that survival mode shows up in leadership behaviors, even when someone appears successful on paper?
Yeah. Survival mode shows up in leaders as, again, that tendency for micromanagement, pushing. Like survival mode is a nervous system thing. Yet again, we keep going back to there. So it's essentially like something that happens. It's a fight or flight, freeze, fawn. Those are your nervous system reactions. And you can be highly performative at those times. It's not like, a lot of people don't shut down. They go into go mode, which is fight or flight, right? So basically, survival mode in any capacity, it's like whatever, as a child, usually it roots in our childhood, whatever our systems adapted into in order to survive. So, like for me, as an example, I think a lot of entrepreneurs have versions of this. It was like, how do I help How can I perform? How can I make sure everyone's okay around me? How can I, if I was helpful, if I was doing everything, if I was supportive, if I was good at school and grades and accomplishment, then, that was sort of my adaptive strategy. That was how I earned love. That's how I was okay. That's how I survived. So that's why I said again, it's really so important to look at your own patterning around this because that pattern is going to show up directly, like you said, in your business, in your entrepreneurship, in your approach to success and rest and to all of the things. So, yeah, survival mode can look a lot of different ways, but essentially it is a neurological state in a way that, by the way, shuts down your higher functioning. It shuts down that expansive creativity, that bigger vision, that 30,000-foot view. That's why it's so important for us to really cultivate the ability to not only come from that place.
I'm so glad I asked the question, and I'm so glad and thankful for your answer for our audience. I don't think I can hit another talking point as strong as that. So now,
Mm.
which entrepreneur, Naomi, throughout history, either dead or alive, I'd
Mm.
like to ask maybe someone you have not met yet, but if it's someone you did, I love the logic and reasoning behind why number two, the meeting again needs to happen. Who would you choose?
It's kind of a weird answer, I have to tell you, because I've been inspired by a lot of entrepreneurs for different reasons, right? And in this moment, it's a very unconventional answer, and it could be controversial even because I'm going to say Sadhguru, Jaggi
Talk about
Vasudev.
it.
And the reason I'm saying that, because in a way, you could say he's not an entrepreneur. But why I say that is because what he has done in terms of not just creating an international organization, but also for me, it's about having successful businesses that support people and planet and do really amazing work in all the different levels of life and community, which is like soil for him, natural fabrics, healthcare, schooling, like the things that really give quality of life to not just us, but like all the people who contribute to what we consume and how we live and all these things. So I know it's kind of like wild, but honestly, that's what I really feel like in its true essence. Entrepreneurship is like having profitable solutions for problems of people and planet. And that is something that really inspires me.
I love the uniqueness in the answer. I definitely wouldn't say it's a crazy response because you often hear, for great reasons, a few of the same names as the majority. So I always enjoy when our guests dig deep and give us something to let our audience get to know you a little better. So with that, Naomi, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on That Entrepreneur Show. To our audience, thank you so much for your consistent viewership and support to inspire our guests to keep coming back. Please remember to subscribe to stay current, but also connect with Naomi. Where's the best place for that? Where's the best place to find your work?
Okay. Thank you so much by the way, for this conversation. I really enjoyed having
Yeah,
it with you and being on your show. Yeah. So I have a website. It's naomiscottcoaching.com. And I will put a free resource actually for you guys that's about 60-second diagnostic when you're going into a big meeting or any kind of moment. So that'll be at naomiscottcoaching.com/podcast resource.
good.
And you can follow me. I'm on Instagram at Naomi Scott Coaching. I'm on LinkedIn. I also publish an article every week on like LinkedIn and Medium. And yeah, I'm around. So
Well, thank you for giving us the opportunity to connect with you in a few different places. Again, we're going to connect, but I'm happy to share that resource link with you. And for my audience, I think that can make a great difference in everyone's lives. My name is Vincent A. Lancy. This is always a joy for me to host and keep going here on That Entrepreneur Show. We're brought to you by ComingAlivePodcastProduction.com. And until next week, keep grinding, entrepreneurs. It will pay off. Don't give up. And Naomi, thanks again for joining us from the other side of the world.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode. I would love to hear your feedback. What did you love? What do you want to see more of? Are there any questions you would like me to ask the guests who come on the show? This show is not possible without you, the amazing listeners, so please email us at podcastsbylancy@gmail.com and let us know what you think. We'll also feature you on a later show. Please remember to subscribe to stay current with our amazing community of guests who will continue to come on the show, sprinkled in with solo episodes from me, Vincent A. Lancy. With that, I look forward to introducing more shows to you each and every week. And with that, we're signing off today. Enjoy the episodes and make it a great day ahead.